And welcome back to the Cam Rogers Show. And we are live here with the CEO of StockX, Josh Luber. You may have seen him on SportsCenter a few times, looking at the latest and greatest in the sneaker market. Now, folks, StockX is a stock market of things. Now, it's a consumer marketplace that connects buyers and sellers using the same method as the New York Stock Exchange. Pretty cool, huh? And we have Josh right here, right now. Josh, I appreciate the time, sir. How are we?
Pretty amazing. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Let's get through these really interesting questions that I have for you because I look forward to your answers here. And I want to start off with a great cause that StockX has gotten involved with. You guys teamed up with Eminem to hold a hurricane relief charity fundraiser, and it seems like we need this now more than ever with the way the hurricanes are just popping. And I want to talk a little bit about this effort here and what it means to you.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, it's obviously no secret. There's a lot of need for it. StockX had started about 2 years ago, and we've been really fortunate to have a number of celebrity investors, including Eminem and Mark Wahlberg and a few other folks. And over the years, they had given us different shoes at different times of, we could do a charity auction at some point. And after Harvey happened, we thought this was the perfect opportunity to do that. And so what we did was we actually reached out to a few other people we know. We ended up with 17 sneakers donated from Eminem, Pharrell, Mark Wahlberg, Virgil Abloh, Don C, Steph Curry, Russell Wilson, Gary Vaynerchuk. I should have the full list of all 17 here in front of me. But some of these shoes, including the ones that Eminem gave us, are worth thousands of dollars. I mean, the market value on the shoe that Eminem gave us is $23,000. The market value of the shoe that Pharrell gave us is $15,000. And so yesterday we started a charity relief campaign. It'll run until Monday, and it's a micro donation opportunity where for $10 you have the opportunity to win one of these sneakers. And in less than 24 hours, we've actually already raised about $40,000. Eminem is going to match what we raise at the end, and it's just a great opportunity to do that. And so it's just great. I mean, we think that we're going to end up raising probably close to $500,000.
That's absolutely fantastic, Josh, and all the best to you in terms of that effort. By the way, Mark Wahlberg, my third cousin, my grandfather was cousins with his grandmother, fun fact. So if you could make sure he comes to my wedding at some point, that'd be great.
All right, no problem. Let me know the date of your wedding, and I'll make sure he knows.
All right, sounds good here. Let's shift to the sneaker market, Josh. Adidas passing Jordan as the number 2 brand in the market. First of all, your initial reactions to this, and how did we get here?
Yeah, well, the initial reaction is no surprise, given what's happened over the past 2 years. 2 years and 1 day ago or so, you might have thought this would be a surprise coming as it is. But, the reality is, and it actually ties really back into some of the history of StockX, is that for a long time before we created the stock market, right, and the consumer marketplace, we were just a data company, and we were collecting data on the secondary sneaker market. And a lot of our customers for that data were investment funds who were interested in how the secondary market, how the resale market might be a leading indicator for the different companies within the primary market: Nike, Adidas, Jordan, Foot Locker. And way back then, right, Jordan was on this unbelievable skyrocket ride. Sure. And the resale prices of Jordans were continuing, and they were the massive part of the secondary market. In February of 2015, Nike, including Jordan Brand, made up 96% of the secondary market, and Adidas was 1%, right? And fast forward, and in February 2015, which was when the first Yeezy came out, that's Kanye West's shoe with Adidas, right? Adidas was at 1% of the secondary market. And today, Adidas is at almost 60% of the secondary market. And at the same time, Adidas' stock price has tripled. So there is not a direct correlation. You cannot say that it is all of that. But there's a big part of all the different things that Adidas has been doing right, between having a new technology called Boost technology, which is a very comfortable sole that goes in the shoes, and having Kanye West and leveraging limited shoes to be on the secondary market. So it's not a surprise given the trajectory over the past 2 years. But man, 2-3 years ago, you would have never thought this would be there.
Right, absolutely. I mean, the power of endorsements a lot of times can certainly help. And, I mean, looking at the Jordan Brand, I mean, we all know that logo, right, Josh? And the fact that now it has been surpassed by Adidas, what's next for them, do you think?
Well, look, there's no way, I'm not counting out Jordan, no way we're counting out Jordan or Nike to get back to that. All industries go through cycles. Sneaker industry goes through cycles. And unfortunately, because of the nature of shoes and the production of shoes, a lot of times those cycles look like, 12 to 18 to 24 months. So a lot of the product that we see in the market today from all the brands, right, was developed 2 years ago, was put into production 18 months ago, and finally hit now. So I think we'll start to see a correction. I think we'll start to see Jordan Brand cut back on supply, make their products more limited, more desirable, sell out at retail, have a big resale premium. So, I just think that the shift, it takes a lot. We're used to tech world where tech companies come out and disrupt things like that. In the sneaker world where you're making physical goods, it takes a little bit longer, but we're not counting out the GOAT, right? MJ's still MJ.
There you go. Absolutely. Peaks and valleys, I hear that. Hey, let's talk about a recent release, speaking of Nike, the 10, which was released during the New York City Fashion Week, of course. And let's say I'm a consumer, I want to buy one of these shoes. If I want to check it out on StockX and go through the process with that, what do I do?
Yeah, well, so the 10 is the collaboration between Off-White, which is Virgil Abloh's streetwear company, which is started in about 2014. Virgil, before that, was creative director for Kanye, and this has been probably the hottest streetwear brand in the world in the past 3 years. So it's really a good time for them to do something big like this with Nike. There's been 10 shoes that they created, and Virgil totally reworked 10 classic Nike silhouettes, including an Air Jordan 1, an Air Max 90, some of just like the classic shoes that have been around for a while. But because Off-White is this unbelievably hot, brand, and they've made these extremely, extremely limited, you can't get them anywhere at retail. It's basically impossible. Of the 10 shoes, the Jordan 1 sells for the most. The Jordan 1 sells for about $2,500 on StockX. Right, some of the others sell for as low as $900 or $700, but that's still a lot of money for a pair of shoes. And so, for you to be able to buy it on StockX, right, you can go there and just buy it like you could any other e-commerce platform and just buy it at whatever it's being listed for $2,400 for a Jordan 1. Or, and this is the interesting part, you can actually place a bid the way you would place a bid in the stock market and say, basically a buy order for Apple stock that says I'm willing to pay, $40 for Apple stock, and if it ever hits at 40, you will get it. And in the same way, you could place a bid for a pair of the Jordan 1 Off-Whites for $2,000, $1,500. And if the market moves down, that's essentially a buy order, and you would get it for $1,500.
And there you have it right there. Now, we have dropped some celebrity names so far here, Josh, and I want to ask you, I'm sure you've seen your fair share of celebrity shoe collections. Who's got the best out there in your eyes?
Well, I think a lot of it, probably the best collections, we don't even know, right? The celebrities that sort of keep it secret. There is a guy who's based in New York, and he goes by Mayer, and he's more of a sneaker celebrity than a true celebrity. But he's basically made himself a real celebrity on the back of his unbelievable sneaker collection. And it's been estimated to be worth about $750,000, about $750,000. And I've been in the room and seen it. So just from what I've seen with my own eyes, that is by far the most impressive collection I've seen with my own eyes. But in terms of big names and famous people, since we talked about him earlier, we had the benefit of actually going to Mark Wahlberg's house and going through his sneaker collection with him and valuing his sneaker collection. And his sneaker collection is worth about $120,000. And he's got some really unbelievable sort of unique one-of-one Air Jordans and some really interesting other things.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing to me. Let me ask you about the excitement that these celebrities have in terms of helping out StockX. We mentioned Eminem and Wahlberg. Of course, we have Wale as well. Why do you think these celebrities are just so pumped up about this company and really want to really get involved?
Yeah, so look, sneakers is the tip of the spear, right? Sneakers opens up the conversation. Absolutely, for sure. And it's come at a time where, in general, sneakers have become a lot more popular, a lot more mainstream. But the reality is what StockX is doing is truly unique, right? This is a consumer marketplace that operates exactly the way a stock exchange does. And I'll spare a lot of the nuance and the details of what that means. But for lack of a less cliche way to say it, this is truly revolutionary. This does not exist. This is an entirely new form of commerce. And once we get to talking to anyone, but particularly, celebrities who are or wealthy people who are looking for alternative investments, right? They buy into the bigger idea and understand how this can actually disrupt all of retail, all of pricing, all of distribution. And there's a really big idea here, and we will come back another time and go into all the details of it. But again, sneakers gets us in the door, no question. But no one puts their money into something that they don't believe in the bigger idea, and that's what we're doing here.
It's interesting. We were talking about sneaker collections, Josh, and James Yoder of Chat Sports tells me you have a giant room devoted to sneakers, and there we have it right there. We have a little video showing up on the screen here. Josh, tell me a little bit about what you have yourself in terms of a collection.
Well, I am 39 years old now, so you have probably a good 29 years of sneaker collecting to build that up. When I moved to Detroit about 2.5 years ago to work with Dan Gilbert and turn Campless into StockX and create the stock market of things, I had one requirement in looking for a house. My wife and most people have many other requirements, school district and bedrooms and all that sort of stuff. I just had one requirement. I needed a room to build a sneaker room, and was fortunate to find that. So my collection today is reasonable. It is very reasonable. In the sneaker world, it's about maybe 350, 375 pairs, right? But I understand for most people that's kind of a ridiculous number. But there are people with thousands, right? So 350 is, I think, a pretty reasonable number.
Hey, when you have a passion, you go with it. And your requirement, big closet for shoes. Mine is AC. I need AC because, well, we won't get into that. But we are going to do a little totem pole segment here, Josh. So on the show here, the totem pole is we power rank something. So from worst first date locations, NFL teams, etc. For you, we're going to do the best sneakers of all time in your eyes. We're going to start off with number 5. Here it is right here, the Nike Air Max BWOG in Persian Violet, Josh.
Yeah, so, let's be really clear. There is no objective ranking for any sneakers. It's all subjective. So this is my subjective ranking. This is just, one of those classic shoes that you can wear with anything. And I made that list in really looking at the shoes that I have the most of in my collection. And so I actually have 8 pairs of this particular shoe, all in the same one, because one day I happened to find some at discount at the Nike outlet and for like $40. And so I bought all of them. But this is just a classic shoe that is timeless and you can wear it with anything.
There you go, number 5. How about number 4 here, Josh? We have the Nike Air Max 90, and this looks really pleasing to the eye to me.
Yeah, so this one, I chose a model instead of any specific color. The Air Max 90 is probably, with the Air Max 1, maybe the most defining shoe of Nike's generation, right? So this came out in 1990, and it's still a sneaker that is going to be in every Foot Locker or every Finish Line or every sneaker store every day. You can walk into and get this. And so this is just a staple. I mean, this shoe is Nike. And I have, probably about 10 or 12 different colors of this particular shoe.
And rolling in at number 3 here, we talked about Adidas. Perhaps this shoe has something to do with their rise, the Yeezy Boost 350 version 1.
Right. Well, this is the only sort of new shoe I have in the list. And I just think it was such a game changer when Kanye went to Adidas, created this shoe. It's a simple shoe, but it's super comfortable. And look, I'll be honest, you buy into the hype sometimes, and part of it, you feel something when you wear a Yeezy, and I think it just had to be in the list.
There you go at number 3. How about number 2 here? Air Tech Challenge Hot Lava, and I actually want to go out and buy a pair of these right now.
Yeah, look, this is the shoe that Andre Agassi wore on back when he was long hair and neon. This was like the classic Agassi shoe. And for a guy, I grew up in a tennis household where my father and everybody played tennis, and even though I was the basketball guy, this was the one thing that everybody wanted to be like Agassi. I mean, that was just nuts. And so years and years from now, this is a shoe that will still be in my collection, and it'll still be a classic shoe.
All right, here you go. The number 1 shoe of all time, according to Josh Luber, Jordan 1 Lance Mountain White.
Yeah, so this is a really unique shoe. It was limited. It's worth about $400 right now, but it is this really cool technology where it's a white shoe, but it has this paint on it that chips off the more that you wear it. And if you continue to wear it, it will reveal a different color underneath. It actually reveals a very classic Air Jordan blue and red, and blue and black, and Air Jordan red and black. So it's this idea of sort of actually encouraging people to wear their sneakers, but as just a straight shoe, that white with the black laces, it's just a really good look. I happen to have 6 pairs of this shoe, and this is kind of my everyday shoe.
You know, the amazing thing with Nike is that they really bridge that gap between athletic wear and just general casual wear, and they got it done, and that's why they're so prominent here in society. Josh Luber, CEO of StockX. Josh, I'm sure the fall season is very busy for you. We really do appreciate you coming on, and all the best to you. Hopefully we talk soon.
Thanks for having me.